Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Leass. I am a current PhD candidate at UT Health Houston School of Public Health. My major is in behavioral science, and I'm double minoring in epidemiology and biostatistics. Today, I am presenting on the impact of sexual dating violence and identity on U.S. adolescent suicidality from the 2023 Youth Risk Behavior Survey. I have no relationships to disclose. I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to my co-authors and the Health Promotion and Behavioral Science Department at UT Health Houston. Thank you, Dr. Markham, Dr. Wilkerson, and Dr. Peskin. I also would like to share my personal connection to the topic. My primary research interest is in promoting healthy relationships and preventing victimization. As a teenager, I had 3 friends die by suicide. Where I live in Montgomery County, Texas, there has been a recent increase in suicide rates. A public health task force has recently been formed. My 17-year-old son is on the autism spectrum. Being on the autism spectrum increases your risk for suicidality. Suicide is a serious public health problem. It is the second leading cause of death after unintentional injury for Americans aged 10 to 24. More deaths are caused by suicide than cancer, heart disease, influenza, and pneumonia combined in this age group. There are many health disparities in suicide. Suicide risk is consistently higher among female students and those who identify as LGBTQ+, also known as sexual minority youth. Although suicide is a serious public health concern, Americans have come together to create the Healthy People 2030 goals. The overarching goals are to attain healthy, thriving lives and well-being free of preventable disease, disability, injury, and premature death. Eliminate health disparities, achieve health equity, and attain health literacy to improve the health and well-being of all. Related to suicide, there are 4 goals. The first one is to reduce the suicide rate. The second one is to reduce suicide attempts by adolescents. The third one is to increase the number of children and adolescents with serious emotional disturbance who get treatment. And finally, the fourth one is to increase the proportion of adolescents with depression who get treatment. Although suicide rates have increased in almost every state over the last 2 decades, we know already that interventions that address behaviors that increase the risk of suicide, like drug and alcohol misuse, may help reduce the suicide rate nationwide. The diathesis stress model is often used to explain the development of suicidality. Sexual dating violence can be a catalyst for suicidality if an individual has been predisposed by genetic or biological, environmental, and personal factors. There is a clear need for this research study. The YRBS has added multiple questions over the years, including those related to sexual dating violence, sexual identity, and most recently about being trans. Previous literature has not covered this topic as extensively as it should. For example, previous literature did not adjust logistic regression for covariance, and it often only used logistic regressions and not more efficient regressions like the multinomial logistic regression. In this study, we do a secondary analysis of the cross-sectional data from the Youth Risk Behavioral Survey. This is a national survey that has been employed since 1991 by the CDC. This design is a complex survey. So that means that we have sampling design stratification, clustering, and unequal selection probabilities. The analyses performed are descriptive, and we look at multinomial logistic regressions with and without covariates. The independent variable is experiencing sexual dating violence in the last 12 months. It's a yes-no question, and it reads, during the past 12 months, did someone you were dating or going out with force you to do sexual things, such as kissing, touching, or being physically forced to have sexual intercourse that you did not want to do? The dependent variable is suicidality, and this variable was created combining 3 yes-no measures. First, during the past 12 months, did you ever seriously consider attempting suicide? During the past 12 months, did you make a plan about how you would attempt suicide? And the third one, during the past 12 months, did you actually attempt suicide? These were all compared to the reference category of lack of any suicidality. The control variables were demographic variables of grade, sex, race, ethnicity, and sexual identity. To our results, we did find a significant association between having experienced sexual dating violence and suicidality among 9th through 12th graders across the United States. Looking at the unadjusted rates first, the relative risk ratios were 2.5 times more likely to seriously consider suicide if you experience sexual dating violence, 4.5 times of making a plan for suicide if you experience sexual dating violence, and 8.2 times if you for attempting suicide if you experience sexual dating violence. And then adjusting with the covariates, it brought those down to 1.9, 3.7, and 6.9 respectively. Females were more likely to report a higher risk of considering suicide, and all sexual identities report higher suicidality risks. Bisexual youth had the highest risk, followed by gay or lesbian youth. This study has strengths and limitations. First, the strengths. The Youth Risk Behavioral Survey is considered representative of and generalizable to all American high school students. The large sample size means it has high statistical power. The results mirror those from previous research. And this study includes questions related to sexual identity. Limitations. The data is cross-sectional, so no temporality to the relationship can be assumed. That means future studies should include a longitudinal component. There was missing data, mainly related to the question of whether they had been in a dating relationship before and then asked whether they had sexual dating violence as part of that relationship. We analyzed this using a square data set method, but I also checked it using multiple imputation and found similar results. Some students may have fear that the study was not completely anonymous, or somehow their parents or other authorities may be notified, and that could lead to decreased reporting. Future research and implications. More interventions are needed. We want to promote healthy relationships that focus on consent and developing communication skills. We need to teach more coping skills and foster resiliency. We need to promote the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline 988. We need to improve our culture, promoting caring communities and having more open communication about mental health. Future research is needed. For example, we could study protective factors for sexual minority youth, which could inform targeted prevention efforts. The impact of social media and online environments on youth suicidality needs to be studied further. Thank you. Please reach out to me at elizabeth.a.leass@uth.tmc.edu with any questions or if you'd like more information. Also, I hope that everyone will connect with me on LinkedIn. See you at the next APHA annual meeting.